Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and yes, it is. It's Saturday morning, right? What is it, the 20th? I gotta look. Yes, it is the 20th. So I thought today we go over a couple things, and one is during slope times, how do you speed things up? Or how do you rejuvenate something? And a little bit on the property for sale, and then some on the recent videos with the toolbox and answering some questions. Stick around. So let's kind of start with the elephant in the room. Not me. I know what you're thinking. Hey, I'm fit as a fiddle. Kind of. Anywho, the sale of the property. The property's been for sale for quite some time. If it sells, it sells. Uh, what am I going to do at that point? I got two properties for sale down there. The shop, and then there's a 2-acre parcel next door to it with a drill well on it that I had bought back in 2006, 2007. And they were supposed to be just temporary investment properties. And we're still there, and I still own them, both of them. But I guess to answer one of you guys' question was, if the shop sells, does that mean the YouTube videos stop? And that's absolutely not. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy helping others. I enjoy, my time with you on the channel and your comments and answering them. And then, I sometimes it's hard to connect with people of certain backgrounds, but I really feel connected to you. So the answer would be no. I'm not going to discontinue the videos. And it's still going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix of personal growth, which I've kind of gotten away from this past week with doing the Toolbox Challenge. And I'll dig back into that to help some of you younger guys and even you older guys and gals. And we'll continue doing repair videos. Now, in the event that the shop sells, the contents of the shop doesn't. So it's going to be kind of a pain in the ass to Claude and I, and I'll hire one or two guys to help us. But it's going to be boxing, labeling, and putting in storage. The only difference that you're probably going to see is, and you won't see it, is I'll shut down the online selling accounts temporarily until we can get a location where it's all back up, where I know exactly where it is, so that I can print, package, and ship, every morning. And when we were going through some of this stuff, for the Toolbox Challenge, one of the things that I noticed is there's parts that we haven't seen sell in like 8 or 9 years, and they're still on the shelf. And I explained to Claude, I said, what I may do is box up some of that stuff and then list it as a group and then just throw it on eBay auctions and get rid of the stuff that's what I classify not as fast moving parts, okay? It's one of those things that you may need it and you may not. And it comes in handy for these guys that are holding on to their old antique snow blowers and mowers. that somebody actually still has the parts. But, you know, I went through a phase in my life here a couple of years ago where I just come to the realization of use it or lose it. Quit being a hoarder. And if it's just sitting around and not being used, why do you have it? Why don't you sell that and put it into something that you would get a lot of use out of? I mean, that was my thought process on it. So if it does sell, it's going to require, I've already talked to, the last two people, father and son that were in, that they need to give us some time to get all the shelving, everything boxed up, labeled, and I'm either going to have to store it in, I still own my last house that I built, and we call it camp. But it's kind of become a catch-all. The guys used to come down, my brother-in-laws and stuff, and use the front part of it to hunt out of. But they said ceased coming, and the only ones that hunt now with me here on the farm are Claude, which he lives next door, and then I have my son Robert and my other son, you might as well say Zach, and they're within 30 minutes away, so they just drive over in the morning, and then after a night hunt they go back. And my grandson, and he would rather hang out with me here at the house, so, and that's A-okay with me. I enjoy him. He's a blessing to have. He's quiet. He's a good kid. My daughter did good. So we don't use camp for hunting anymore. Everybody's local. So I can use the front part of camp for the time being. We can use it strictly as storage. And the stuff that I won't put into storage is your fast moving, like your filters, air filters, fuel filters, oil filters, fuel line. The stuff that we're using constantly, that stuff won't go into storage. That stuff I'm going to keep out. And I've got a 24 by 24 garage. And I could clean that out pretty quick. And as I explained to Claude, we could take and either put a propane furnace or a pellet stove in there and just set it up for minor, repairs and work while the new shop is being built. That's always been our goal, but I've been trying to do that goal now since 2012. Kind of like my toolbox, right? And we always seem to put it off. And Claude's not getting any younger. And at the very least, I want to design it so that I can also use it for my beef cattle and my equipment storage if we do, push Claude into full retirement and me into other things. But that's the answer on that. The videos will continue, and it's not sold till it's sold. So I'd like to also thank each and every one of you that commented on how you do your toolbox, with the toolbox organization. My big thing is do it in such a way that it makes sense and works for you. I mean, I've seen people that had crap everywhere but knew exactly where it was, right? And then I've seen people look organized but can't find their stuff half the time. And some stuff never even get utilized because they forgot they had it. And a couple of you guys had commented when I talked about putting in steel pipes so I could put airdrops with a schedule of 40 PCV. I hadn't even thought of that. Thank you so much. That's going to save time, money, because it's a lot easier to work with. And will do exactly what I want to do. And The Campbell Housefield upright compressor, I think, kicks off at 140, 145. So the 150 is cut off is perfect. So we'll look at putting that in so that I've got 2 drops out there in the where my tools are. Now we'll go to the last part. Is this year has been one of the quietest years I've had that I've seen, where there's little to no work and we're reinventing ourselves per se. And I'm just curious if you're having the same problem. If you run a shop, as long as you're a repair shop, even an auto repair shop, have you seen a slowdown? I blame it on the money. I blame it on people not having that disposable income and trying to do it themselves. And there's nothing wrong with doing it yourself. That's why I do a lot of the how-to videos, to show you guys how to work on this and work on that. Where before, people had more disposable income, so they were more apt to just send it over to Eric and have Claude get it going versus trying to get it going themselves. And I'm hearing it from guys that are plowing driveways that their clientele has dropped wicked this year. That, they want them to show up when they call. And the problem with that, because we did a few years of that, doing commercial snow plowing, commercial and residential, is we had some residential customers that didn't want to sign into the way I had it set up was you could either do so much a month, so much for the season, or so much for every time I dropped the plow in your driveway. And most of my customers were seasonal. They liked that, and I could spread out over 12 months or the 6 months for the winter. And that worked pretty good. But then I had those customers and I learned in a hurry of what not to do. And that is, don't take on customers that only want you to plow the snow when they call you and then pay you to just plow their driveway. Because what ends up happening is, in any snowplow outfit will tell you, girls, that if you do that, you'll end up with a driveway that is basically unplowable. It's a pain in the backside because they've let the snow build up. They've drove on top of it, so it's packed it all down, and they'll call you when it's like a foot deep, and it just tears your equipment all to heck. So we quit doing that. It was, if you want to pay per drop, but that drop was how many times I dropped my plow in your driveway for the month, for the day, for the season, all right? But not you call me when you want it plowed. But those guys are seeing where people don't have the extra money and they're trying to do it themselves. Whether they're shoveling it or just basically doing without. So I know it's not just us, and in our area, it's everybody's being affected. Some of my friends that have auto repair shops have seen an uptick in work needing to get done, but their biggest fear is, does the customer have the money to pay for it? Because to me as a shop owner, my money comes in when I get it repaired and get it back and I get paid. I don't make the money when I'm doing the repairs. It's always at the end. But if I end up with, 8 or 10 machines that are sitting here done, and they're still sitting here because the customer can't afford to pay me. It's tying up time and money that I wouldn't have to if I'd done it other ways, you know. And the one friend that I have that's got an auto repair shop, he's got a stack like that of people that still owe him money, and I don't want that. But I'm just curious if you guys are seeing the same thing. So what we're doing in the meantime, this week we both have been sick, so that's why we stayed inside and worked on stuff. But, you know, we're stepping out with my construction equipment and taking on jobs like land clearing to, you know, there's so many things that we're doing that are outside that normal box of small engine repair so that we can keep the income coming in, if that makes any sense. Now, we saw a big uptick when it came to the power outages that we had and generators, but the bulk of those were, yes, the shop did the work, but I chalk that up to neighbors helping neighbors and doing the right thing. You know, you don't take advantage of people when they're at their weakest point, and that is when the generator doesn't run and the power is out, and they're trying to stay warm, trying to keep their freezers from melting and spoiling food. You don't realize how much you do or how much you depend on electricity until it's not there, right? So most of the work that we did was free. And I know a lot of guys would tell me, that's crazy, it's stupid. You should have been paid for every job you did. Firm believer, what comes around goes around. And we've had calls this week just telling us thank you. And neighbors calling to thank us for taking care of their neighbor so quickly and so professionally. And, you know, I knew that I had my generator running at the house. I knew Claude had his generator running at the house. So we had those bases covered. We had the generator running at the shop. And I had 2 other spares that I was lending out as we were working on stuff. Those people that we helped out will remember. And if they need work done, I mean, we've with the generators, we got introduced to a number of new people, the new customers that hadn't been our customers before that are all in now, that want to continue with us. And I've got a few customers that stopped in this past week to grab business cards to hand them out to the people that they're telling about how professional and how quickly we got their stuff going and how helpful we were. And that has to have some value, right? As a shop, you can't judge everything by dollars and cents. It's also giving back to your community that you're in. You know, I can remember with the ice storms and the power outages and stuff, of where businesses were jacking up the cost of that generator twofold and jacking up the price of a gallon of gas to take advantage of people. Flashlights, batteries, candles, all that stuff went up. And there was no reason for it. There wasn't a shortage of them. Not even close. And I can remember back in the ice storm in the 90s. We were 28 days without power, okay? And they had tractor-trailer loads of Generac, Honda, you name it, generators flowing into our area. So there wasn't a shortage of generators. But the ones that were jacking up the price on generators was because FEMA had stepped in and said that we'll cover a purchase of a generator if your homeowner's insurance doesn't. So a lot of these businesses thought, well, we can make a quick buck. But I'll tell you, to this day, I still remember that. And I don't do business with those people, even to this day. Like I say, you don't take advantage of someone. It's got to be a win-win in everything you do. You know, if it's one-sided, you need to rethink it and decide what's best. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. There's not much we're going to be doing today, or I'm going to be doing. Today's Saturday. Right now it's 10 below, 11 below zero out. So I'm going to hang close to the shop today. I got two different couples coming on the adjacent land to the shop that want to see that today. So I told them I'd be around. And I may work on some other videos and doing some house cleaning down to the shop where it's nice and toasty warm. So on that note, you guys have a great Saturday. And like I say, I appreciate each and every one of you that are watching, commenting, and taking part on the channel. You guys have a great day.